guys, welcome to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. I'm Mike, and today I'm going to show some videos from the Warner Brothers studios, the Warner Brothers gangster movies. They pretty much made the gangster movie, and they almost made stars of gangsters and these criminals that were a big part of everyday life in the news and in some cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you know, in the 20s and 30s with prohibition going on and different stuff like that. So they were kind of not quite glamorous, but you know, they were looked at as the scourge of the nation, you know, these guys and stuff. So Warner Brothers really kind of keyed in on that, you know, honed in on that, you know, stuff that's going on, and they really, you know, did a legendary job of it. I mean, they made stars of people like James Cagney, Edward G. Robinson, Humphrey Bogart, George Raft, just name a few. And I mean, the look of Warner Brothers movies in the 30s is just undeniable. Either it be a comedy, a musical, or like what we're going to talk about today, the gangster flick. Because you can tell it's Warner Brothers. They had the style, the grittiness, and they had the actors and the scripts to back it up with. So I'm going to show a few movies that I have. A lot of these are on DVD. And this was a movie that I guess it's pretty new. I bought a set last year, and I've kind of broke that set up, and I'm kind of watching them here and there. But this is one with James Cagney, and it came out in 1933. And that movie would be The Mayor of Hell. That's right, The Mayor of Hell. Basically, James Cagney plays kind of a, I don't know if he's like a teacher or like a self-help kind of guy or something. Because it kind of the movie opens with like these kids, you know, on the street, these teenage boys, and they're getting into trouble and all kinds of stuff, and they the judges and the lawyers and everybody come up with a thing to, you know, bring James Cagney into this reform school to kind of, you know, straighten these boys out and stuff. So it's basically, you know, and then, you know, it's got more to it than just that, but you know, that's part of it. Because, you know, James Cagney was once one of those boys and stuff. So it's one of those, you know, it's kind of got that, you know, good and bad, you know, things that Warner Brothers did a lot of. You got like the movies with the, you know, like Angels with Dirty Faces. You know, you got the priest and the gangster. You know, you got good and bad and stuff like that. So pretty interesting movie. I'd heard about it. But I had never seen it. It's pretty good. It's really entertaining. It's got a good little bit of extras on there. You got the Warner Night at the Movies, which, you know, you get a short news clip, you get a cartoon, musical short, some trailers and stuff like that. You know, and a movie like this kind of spawned some other movies, not direct sequels, but just they were similar movies like Crime School, Hell's Kitchen, Dead End. Some of those movies were similar like that. So really interesting movie, directed by Archie Mayo, which, you know, he was famous for at Warner Brothers during that time. It's got co-starring Madge Evans, Arthur Bryan, Alan Jenkins. He was a really good character actor. He was in a lot of Warner Brothers stuff, and I think he's like, you know his face, but you just don't know his name. But yeah, Alan Jenkins, really good. Dudley Diggs. So yeah, interesting movie there. The Mayor of Hell. Next up, we got a really interesting movie. This was really good, and it's kind of like an unknown little gem. You know, these movies were turned out like, you know, stuff on an assembly line. You know, which, you know, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. And I think in the Warner Brothers way of looking at it is, you know, a lot of them were kind of just okay, you know, and there were some good ones and there were some okay ones, and then there were some classics and stuff. And I think this one is more of a kind of underrated movie and stuff. It's really kind of interesting for the time, this was made, 1936. But the movie I'm talking about is called Black Legion, and it stars Humphrey Bogart, which was one of his first starring movies. I think he had already made The Petrified Forest by this point, I think. But he basically stars in this. It's also got Dick Foran, Aaron O'Brien Moore. It's got a very young Ann Sheridan. But yeah, it's really interesting. The Black Legion is kind of like this group of, they're similar to the KKK, but it was kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to give it away. It's kind of like a crime. It's not exactly a gangster movie per se, but it's kind of a social drama of the time. Basically, Humphrey Bogart plays a guy named Taylor, Frank Taylor, and it's basically they're a white supremacist group, and threats surrounding, like it's like the guy's not getting ahead in his job, so he joins this group. Some of the guys work at this factory, and they start bumping people off. They threaten people. They shoot people. They just kind of tone down it. They didn't really make a race thing out of it, but some true life stuff attached to this. Around the time it was made and came out, like some groups like the KKK and stuff wanted to like boycott it, because it was like, and so it was kind of interesting. So I think that's what makes it kind of underrated. It was one of those movies that were made, and I think if it didn't have Humphrey Bogart attached to it, I think it would have just slipped into total obscurity, I think. But really good. I mean, it starts showing what Humphrey Bogart is capable of, with a better script and a better director and co-stars and stuff. He could just really blossom and stuff, But really good movie. I mean, The Black Legion. It's not very long. I think it's an 80-minute movie. It was one of the top films of 1937. So it was highly rated back in the day and stuff. So I'm surprised it's not more well known. But there you go, guys. Black Legion. I'm going to do some research on it for yourself and check it out and stuff. But pretty interesting. Next up, this is a bona fide gangster classic. Now, this is a Blu-ray edition of the 1949 classic, directed by Raoul Walsh, White Heat. James Cagney is just off the chain in this movie. This movie is so good. It's got a great performance by Virginia Mayo. Earlier in this year, Raoul Walsh and Virginia Mayo teamed up, or he teamed her up with Joel McCrea in the Western, the Western version of High Sierra. What was it called? Colorado Territory. So she was doing some really cool movies around the time. Raoul Walsh, like I said, he made that. And White Heat, just one of those classic movies. It's got some famous, scenes of, Cagney standing on the tower about to explode, and, it's got a lot of quotable lines and stuff in it. It's just action-packed, and it's got some cool stuff on here. It's got a featurette, White Heat, Top of the World. It's got it's got a film commentary. I don't know if this is the same Dr. Drew, but film historian Dr. Drew Casper does the commentary. Leonard Maltin does the host the Warner Night at the Movies, which you get your short and your cartoon and some trailers and stuff. But yeah, other than that, I mean, White Heat is a great movie. Super cool. This movie is almost 2 hours long, but it's never slow for a minute. It's just great. So there you go, man. Check this out above everything else. White Heat, if you've never seen it. Next up, this is a movie with Pat O'Brien and Humphrey Bogart, and this is a movie called San Quentin. And I actually ended up having to get 2 copies of this. I ordered a copy from Amazon, and I got it, and it was defective somehow. It was like it would freeze up and stuff, and I got a second copy of it, and it ended up not doing that though. But it's also got Ann Sheridan in it, and basically the ins and out at San Quentin. Pat O'Brien becomes the prison warden. Humphrey Bogart gets put in San Quentin into prison. His sister is played by Ann Sheridan. Pat O'Brien starts falling in love with Ann Sheridan, and you got that whole, triangle there of, if I help the brother, I'll be in good with the girl. If I do my job, then I may lose the girl, and it's really good. I mean, this is another movie, directed by Lloyd Bacon, Archie Mayo, some of the guys that were kind of the unsung directors of Warner Brothers back then. I mean, like I said, they were turned out on an assembly line. It seemed like they were just doing 6, 7 of these types of movies a year, just turning them out. A lot of them are forgettable. A lot of them are really good at the same time. And this one is pretty good. This is definitely a solid 3-star movie, maybe 3.5 star. It's got some good co-stars in here. Barton McLean. I'm trying to think this guy here. There's a picture in the back here. Now, he was in the Black Legion, so you start seeing some of the same people, in there and stuff. But yeah, it's a really good movie. Warner Brothers did a lot of prison flicks too, which are crime movies. Maybe I shouldn't say this as a gangster episode. Maybe it's Warner Brothers crime films, gangsters and prison flicks and all kinds of stuff. But San Quentin, pretty good movie, not bad at all. And I watched it twice, because I had the defective disc and stuff, and because what was defective on the first disc I got was the extras. The extras wouldn't play, and they barely play, and they would freeze and stuff. And then I think the last part of the movie did that too. So I basically watched it twice in a week or so. But Amazon jumped right to it and got me a new copy just like that. But yeah, there you go. San Quentin, that came out in, what's this, 37? Yeah, so 37. So Humphrey Bogart was really, working hard back then, turning out the movies and stuff. Next up, and finally, this is a gangster movie. This is an excellent movie. This is one of the big movies of 1939. Warner Brothers. This was a pretty prestigious production, because by then, put James Cagney in a gangster movie, it's going to be a huge hit. So this one, like I said, came out in 1939. The Roaring Twenties. It's a movie that you don't really hear a lot about. You'll hear about Angels with Dirty Faces, but not so much about the Roaring Twenties. I remember seeing this on TV when I was a young teenager and stuff, and it was pretty cool. I think there's a famous scene where he gets shot and he falls down the steps at the courthouse or something. I think that's in here towards the end. He gets wounded. But yeah, it's got Priscilla Lane. Humphrey Bogart returns. He's in this. I think he plays the leader. He plays another gang leader or something. It's got Gladys George and Jeffrey Lynn in it. This was directed by Raoul Walsh, so we got a solid director behind the camera this time again. Robert Rolson was one of the people who worked on the screenplay. Yeah, what's cool about these Warner Brothers discs back then was all of these pretty much they did the Warner Night, the movies as the extras, where you get your host Leonard Maltin, you got your cartoon short, your news clip, your some other kind of clip, maybe a comedy short, trailers and stuff, and then they show you the movie itself. But yeah, it's really cool. It's one of the again, it's like one of those movies that you don't always hear about when they talk about movies. You know, the big Warner Brothers gangster type crime movies of the 30s and stuff. They always kind of leave the Roaring '20s out. But a really good movie, guys. Check this out too. I think the Roaring '20s and White Heat are two movies you need to check out. Have a James Cagney double feature. So yeah, really good movie. Check it out. And I think that's about it for this episode, guys. I was kind of dipping my feet in the water, kind of warming up. I got a bunch more to go. Some more great gangster and crime and all that good stuff. So we've got some good classics from Warner Brothers coming up in some future episodes. So I hope you check them out. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell, and you'll be notified when the new episodes come out. If you did like this episode, give me a big thumbs up and comment what you thought about these. I mean, do you agree that the Roaring '20s is maybe not mentioned so much? And same thing with Black Legion. I mean, did you hear about that? Have you heard of it beforehand? Because this is something that never comes up a lot. So let me know what you think about that. So I think that's about it, guys. I'm gonna go watch a movie, and I will return and bring you more episodes. So y'all take it easy, be safe out there. I'll see you later.